How do you do that? How do you grow your English from a basic B1 level to a fully matured C1? After teaching this language to hundreds of people, I discovered there are only 3 phases. If you don't complete all 3, you don't become fluent. And the good news is you have to be willing to do one thing: less. So today I'm gonna show you the big mistake stopping you from growing faster, as well as my secret to growth, where all you do is focus your time on one area, and in doing so, you improve all 4 skills at the same time. So you can become fluent fast, build confidence, and basically make the whole thing faster and easier. So who's gonna be able to take the best out of this video? Well, firstly, you wanna be here because you wanna be fluent. I mean, actually fluent. Not because you have to pass a school test, or because so you can put it on your resume. You are here because you wanna feel confident while speaking this language. You wanna feel relaxed, just like when you're speaking your mother tongue. But first, who are you to tell me how to grow my English and become fluent? I'm Albert, and for the past few years, I've focused pretty much every second of my life on helping English learners growing from basic to fluent English. They all started their journey with
"I can't speak English because I make too many mistakes,"
and ended with
"Now I'm finally confident with my English skills."
So if this is the result you want, this video will help you a lot. Just to give you a quick background, I started learning English many years ago. I was 22 at that time, so a long time ago. First I moved to America, then I went back to Europe, and then I moved to Australia. I've spent a total of 10 plus years in English-speaking countries, and in doing so I've made every possible mistake you're currently making and built systems to try and solve them. So let's start by looking at that big mistake so you can save an insane amount of time and improve your English faster. Imagine that to become fluent, you have to go from here to here. I mean, that sounds pretty easy, right? But the mistake everyone makes is thinking that reaching full fluency looks something like this. Now that happens because the whole education system works on the premise that you're not good enough. And they succeed by showing you that if you don't know this, and you don't know this, and you don't know that, then you amount to nothing. As a result, that's what everyone spends their time on, even if they don't even need it. What, you don't believe me? Look, if you look at this graph, it shows you what English learners usually focus on the most. They spend an insane amount of time learning the right grammar, filling their heads with all of those technical terms so they can pass every exam. But because their attention is divided on a million useless tests, they're left with no time to actually use this language. As a result, they experience that sense of not being good enough, which takes them back to studying everything, and the cycle repeats again. So the mistake you need to avoid at all costs is focusing your attention on the wrong goal. In fact, you as a person who wants to be fluent should be way more focused on your personal interests and actually use your English to reach that goal. So what's the other option? Well, the good news is it's actually easier to learn English and become fluent if you're willing to do less. Wait, didn't you just tell me I have to do more? Not exactly. You have to do less of what you're doing right now, and more of all of the fun stuff you're missing out on because you think you're still not good enough for it. In other words, once your English is good enough to understand this video, and if you're watching it, that's you, you should be spending all your study time on one area, the only area you haven't had the courage to explore yet. And just by improving it, you will start believing that maybe not only are you good enough, but you're already fluent. In other words, if you want to grow your English fast from basic to fluent. You need to focus on improving your communications and speaking skills. Because when you improve the way you deliver the message, people perceive you to be more intelligent. And when people take you as an intelligent person, they listen more to what you have to say, which in turn boosts your confidence and makes you start believing that you can be good enough. Now, how do you do that? After teaching this language to hundreds of people, I discovered there are only 3 phases. So let me show you what to do when you're in the first phase. This should only take you about 20 minutes a day. Here, you only need to focus on listening and literally nothing else. You can use your ears in 2 different ways. I call this active and passive listening. Now, this is when things get deeper. When you're actively listening, your brain is fired up. You make connections between old and new information. You ask questions and you find answers. What's the meaning of this? Why do you use this word instead of this? Why using this pronunciation? When you listen actively, there are 2 things you need to pay attention to: your input and your output. As in, what you listen, what you feed your mind with, and what you say, the sounds you produce. You want to be focused on listening to yourself. This way you see how you sound in English. Yes, speaking is still part of listening. 80% of people ignore this. The more you get used to listening to your own voice, the more you take control over this. But let me tell you why passive listening is the secret key to the success of all of my past students. When you're passively listening, you're busy with your own life. And this means you can do this for hours and hours. Because you can do this whenever you don't actively use your brain. As you're focused elsewhere, you allow your brain to get used to the language and form mental patterns, which accelerates your learning so that when you get back to speak this language, you already have all the information you need to actually speak it. For this reason, it's very important you only listen to things you're actually interested in. This fills your subconscious with pure knowledge on that particular subject. When you get used to this mental conditioning, you enter phase 2. And you start working on your speaking and communication skills. Here you want to add another hour a week. And during this time, you make sure to speak with as many people as possible. You want to make sure your conversations are challenging. Talk about your goals, get into details, and share your opinions. This allows you to experience the language in context to get a sense of the different accents and the different cultures, getting you closer and closer to the final phase. When you get to this phase, your time pretty much looks like this. You start using your language for your goal. Get a job in English. Apply for that course of study. Travel, or do whatever was your initial reason to become fluent. But I know what you're thinking. It's all well and good me sitting here saying do this, do that, get better. But how do you actually do it? Well, there's a slow way and there's a really fast way. If you want, I can show you the really fast way. I'm assuming you're saying yes, so I just go right ahead. It's called the English No Fear Coaching Program. In this program, I teach smart learners like yourself a step-by-step system to get from basic to fluent English in a matter of months. By following my instructions, you'll gradually improve your listening, speaking, and communication skills step by step until you feel confident using them in the workplace. And most importantly, I'll be personally involved in your growth. You'll get my personal help in the form of one-on-one calls, group meetings, messages, voice messages, motivational emails, and any other means we think fit in. My support will keep you on track and guide you through the program. So let me dive a little deeper and show you a bit of what's inside this program. To start, I'll meet you in a one-on-one call where you're going to take me as your personal trainer. We'll see your starting point, and I'll also answer any questions you have. I know how hard it is to stay consistent, so to make this as easy as possible, I created a series of very simple video lessons where you only need to listen and repeat after me. So moving forward will be as easy as watching some videos and then following a list of instructions over and over again. During these lessons, I'll be there answering your questions and giving you feedback. This means you'll move quickly from lesson to lesson, and after the first 12 weeks, your speech will already be more fluent and you'll start growing exponentially. Your second phase starts about a month after you join. In fact, to drastically improve your communication skills, you get access to our weekly group sessions I call Speaking Challenge. The challenge is usually guided by me, and I'll walk you through a series of activities aimed at learning to communicate better in a group. And if all this isn't enough, you can decide to upgrade your membership and get my personal help to get through the program even faster. If you have a deadline, I highly recommend you use my help either for weekly or monthly meetups. Together, we'll prepare for your goal and improve your communication skills further, including topics like gestures, body language, presentation skills. I'm even gonna show you how to build instant credibility the second you meet someone. In other words, the skills and systems you build here will also level you up in multiple areas of your life. Now, don't make the mistake of believing that
This is only an online course.
Now, my friend, you are using the online lessons as a tool to grow your speaking muscles. I'm not gonna deny it, there will be some work to do, especially at the start, because at first you probably struggle to keep a constant routine. But this is why I call this a coaching program. I'm there with you, we're in this together, and I'll help you go through every phase. This is actually the product I wish I had, cause it would have saved me years of work and stress. So if you want to start improving your English today, click on the link you see under this video and let's improve your English together.